Show me the teeth.
Hey guys, what's going on? Today I figured I wanted to make a different video than what you're used to seeing on the channel. I thought about making this video a while ago, but really never got the chance to make it. It's going to be a lot easier for me to edit, of course, but since I didn't get the chance to go through and edit the gameplay that I wanted to do for this week, I figured I'd come out with this video, which is basically just going to go over all the cameras that I use, all the mounts that I use, and how I mount them, how I wear them. For a lot of people that want to get into making YouTube videos or get into recording their gameplay just to enjoy editing their stuff. So this isn't going to be like super in-depth. Like, I plan on making a video eventually on how I edit the videos and like pretty much everything I do that goes into them. But this is basically going to go over the basic cameras that I use, the settings that I use, the mounts that I use. I don't have one of my guns here to actually show you exactly the configuration, but I'll pull some gameplay and kind of show you exactly how it's on different guns and how I use that setup pretty much the same way from gun to gun, and that's why I like to use it. So I do use some different things that a lot of YouTubers don't, so I'll get into that. And with that being said, let's get into it. So getting right into it, the scope cam that I use is literally called the scope cam, and this is a Runcam 2, and it's called the Runcam 2 scope cam. And I actually got these right when they came out, or actually right beforehand. I heard that this was actually one of the ones that they used for prototyping, because I actually had a problem with it when it first came out with my app. But basically, it's extremely cool. And there are some features about this that I always recommend something like this one, pretty much compared to the other ones. So this one comes with a 35mm lens, which is really zoomed in. That's why a lot of my videos, like my scope cam, is pretty zoomed in compared to a lot of the mainstream ones you see, like Dutch Hooligan, even Alphons and stuff like that. But they're coming out with a lens for this that is 25mm. Also think there's a 15mm one coming out, but the main reason I really like to use this one is because it's in a protected body, and the normal scope cam, or sorry, normal Runcam 2 isn't. It's in its own little thing, and basically if it gets hit from the side, I can't guarantee it would be okay, especially close. If you're playing CQB, this is probably the camera you want. Now, misnomer about this thing, they do advertise it with Gorilla Glass, like what's on the front, and it does have a piece of Lexan type stuff that actually protects the front, but it is not Gorilla Glass. It is basically just a piece of Lexan. But the thing about it is, even if it gets hit, you can buy more pieces to replace it with. So that's why I recommend it, because it's not if your scope cam gets hit, it is when it gets hit, and when it does, it'll break the lens, so you might as well have one that protects it to begin with. I've got probably 6 or 7 of these shot off by now, and I've only been doing this stuff for a year. Granted, I've been playing a lot the past year with this, but yeah. So also, this set Runcams, like any of them, it has the app where you can basically go in, and let's see if I can get it to go. And the app's pretty neat. It's not as good as Runcam, or sorry, it's not as good as the GoPro app, but you can still adjust your settings, view it, everything like that. And as you can see, it's still called the Runcam Scope Cam, so just confirming that one. But the cool thing about this one, you can mount it on the sides, and you can change the lens where it'll still be correct, but I always recommend running it on the top. So there's another YouTuber that makes a really good video on this called Airsoft Cam Man. I might link his video in the description for those of you who actually want to get a lot more in depth on this thing, because he goes into a lot of things like the battery test and stuff like that. But I know a lot of people are concerned about the battery life and such, so that is why I recommend getting one of these. So this is nothing special. This is just a mobile charger that comes from Walmart. So basically they have these giant bins, or in the electronics department, this was no more than $5, and this keeps this thing running all day. Like, I pretty much only go, it has a little 4 battery levels on here. Let's see if it has any juice in it. But yeah, I haven't even charged it since last time I played, and I probably played with this for 4 or 5 hours, and I barely took any of it. But yeah, it plugs in right here. You have the external charging port, and you're pretty much good to go. Just make sure this is on when it's actually on your gun. I'll provide a little bit of gameplay where this is actually attached to my gun. I always attach it with pretty much some zip ties. I tried Velcro. Don't do that, it kind of sucks. But yeah, and I kind of ran it under the rail and then across the top and plugged it in, and basically it was no problem. I had no problem with battery life, because it is one thing to get multiple batteries for these things, but keep in mind there is not a charger that charges multiple batteries at once, so just keep that in mind. But yep, that's what I use to record all my scope cam footage, and I record in 60 frames per second and 1080p with that. And of course, the next camera is my GoPro Hero Session. This is a 4. This isn't the 5. I want to make sure all my cameras record in 60 frames per second, and the 4 was basically the first one came out that had 60 frames per second. Probably when I was learning to make footage and stuff, the most complicated thing I was trying to figure out is how all these people were mounting these sessions to the side of their guns. I actually messaged Alphonse and Dutch the Hooligan both on how they were doing it, and Alphonse basically said he built it from scratch, which he did. So I was like, I can't do that. So this mount actually is what probably most people are interested in. This is the Rail Dogs mount. I got it off of Amazon, and as far as how good it is for what I paid, I want to say I think it was under 30 bucks for what I paid for it. This is probably the best mounting hardware that I have for anything that goes on my gun. This is very solid. This is definitely a piece of CNC aluminum, and it'll fit any GoPro. For the most part, this is your standard connector here, but basically it's pretty simple. I'll see if I can take it out. I am one-handed here. Whoop. Come on, buddy. Yep, just slips out, and since I'm left-handed, this runs on the right side of my gun, and if you are correct-handed, this runs on this way, so it'll go in either way. So yeah, here's a good example. So here's my session. See all the marks on it. Still works perfectly fine, but I see a lot of people that use the reverse cam as the GoPro, like a full-size GoPro with the screen on it. Do not do that. I mean, I guess you could put Lexan on it and kind of prevent that, but it will get hit and it will get shattered. If you have one that actually shows you the footage, just save yourself the headache and just get a Session 4 or 5. Unless you're going to be recording in 4K, then I guess you could pull it off, but I really recommend just sticking with the Session because I get 1080p 60 FPS. The battery life in these are actually really, really good. This is just a Session 4, and my battery life on it over the past year, and I bought this thing used, it's perfectly fine. So yep, this is what I use on the side of the gun. I'll provide a little bit more gameplay so you can actually kind of see how it is, but a lot of you, if you follow the channel, you're already pretty familiar with this to begin with. Alright, so I switched over to recording on the Session, same resolution and same FPS, so hopefully not too much of a difference. The audio is probably going to suck compared to this one, but I'm not a fan of the GoPro audio. That's why I use this guy. So this is probably something none of you have ever seen, especially in the airsoft scene. So this is a Bluetooth waterproof wireless microphone. It is kind of expensive, but I really, really did not like the audio that came off of this. And if anybody's been following the channel from like when I first started playing, I pretty much sounded like I was dying when I was playing with this. Like I was breathing so hard, but I really wasn't breathing so hard because the GoPro Hero 7 and 8, I've already tested the 8, has compressed audio, and it sucks. So I pretty much picked up one of these, and basically it makes the audio so much better. And this is super cool. So basically I turn it on. I can turn it on even like from the buttons, but I can also get my phone and I use an app on it, and I can turn it off and on. I can view everything going on. I should pull up the app here in just a second. So it's called the Instamic. So there's your microphone, and then I've connected to it, and basically I can record and everything like that. And when I'm done, I just pull out my phone on the field, I press shut down, and boom. And the battery life on this is basically 20 hours of recording time. So you can change how loud the audio is in case you don't want to peak when you're editing or have to deal with all that BS. So this guy's been really, really good to me. It also helps me sync up my footage a lot easier since this acts as the actual audio. Other than that, the camera I'm using, a lot of you are familiar with. This is the GoPro Hero 7. It's probably the most used right now. Because it has the stabilizing technology, which I really highly recommend for anybody getting in. Just save up the money and get the 7 at least. But I actually prefer the 7 over the 8, and it's actually this one little thing. I don't record. The 8 is good, especially in low light conditions compared to the 7. If I can get this off. So the 7 has a feature that the 8 does not, that I really wish the 8 had. So see this, basically if your GoPro gets shot, you can actually take this piece off. You can buy these pieces for like 20 bucks and just put it right back on. Your lens is perfectly fine. So with that, the GoPro Hero 7 Black Edition, it has the stabilizing technology, which is awesome. If you mount it on a helmet, it's pretty much going to be like you're running a gimbal. Like, you really can't beat it. I still record 1080 60 FPS with this, so nothing super settings going on with that. Trying to think if I don't use ProTune. I know a lot of people use ProTune, especially when they have audio issues, but I just chose to opt with one of these, and I just run the standard settings, and it works perfectly fine as long as it's in 60 FPS. Another big tip for people that want to YouTube: basically always make sure that you're going to be recording in the same FPS, frames per second, because syncing it up will make it 1,000 times easier. So, but as far as the mount for this guy, I use the Brain Exploder 3D printed boonie hat mount. He makes mounts for pretty much everything, and I always recommend supporting him because his stuff's really good. I'm not the biggest fan of his mount for the Session, which is why I got the one I did. Again, that was the Rail Dogs guy. But yep, 3D printed mount for this guy, and basically I will show you the mount that I use for the microphone. It comes with the microphone, and it just kind of slips in there like this. I can't view this footage, so, but yeah, it slips in there like this, and I just turn it on from there and get the best audio from the back of my head. The only other actually YouTuber that I think uses one of these is Dutch the Hooligan, but unconfirmed, but I'm assuming. I don't know if it's one of these, it could be a different microphone. So, but yep, GoPro Hero 7, 1080 and 60 frames per second, and the Instamic, which to my knowledge, I'm the only YouTuber that uses one of these. So yeah, if you're watching my videos, definitely use headphones because it's amazing. And basically another thing, way I keep my camera stable is this. So basically it looks kind of weird, but I made it out of a Nike headband. This is for boonie hat users only. If you're not a boonie hat user, this will not apply to you. So if you're getting into Airsoft, just go ahead and get used to wearing a helmet. I could not bring myself to wearing one. I hate it. But yep, so this is just a Nike headband with a wristband that I actually used when I played table tennis sewed on there. And I put this behind the camera when I'm wearing the hat, and I actually use it for aligning on my goggles. And this, with it being pressed against my head, basically keeps it stabilized even more, so the stabilizing technology works a lot better. But yeah, it's a pretty simple setup, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. I promise most of my videos are not this redneck. I do a lot of editing in my gameplay videos. Is what I edit the most. I do reviews, I do build videos, so if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. But till next time, guys, I will have gameplay from Sweetwater coming up. I have a video from Insane coming up, and I'm also playing at Tennessee Mountain Paintball here, I'd say on June the 20th. So you'll see a lot of gameplay coming from me here soon. So, but anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I appreciate your support.
Over there. I didn't stop, except for the time I dropped my mag. That was the only time I stopped.
Of course you dropped. Oh, there's an inchworm. Hello.
Hi, buddy.
He'll give me good luck.
Put him in your hop-up. He'll shoot.
Oh,
no.
Well, shit.
Press F.